Montreal is really booming from a business travel perspective.
Okay.
And also, there's over 22,000 millionaires just in Montreal alone and growing. This is in correlation to the rest of the world.
Rocky, you have big news for the marketplace. TTI is embarking on a new chapter, moving into the Quebec marketplace, a big decision. What brought this on?
Several reasons. In particular, knowing that Joel had such a successful business in Quebec for so many years and is highly respected by his clients, by independent travel advisors, and by the luxury leisure advisor. Finally, we have someone that can truly represent us in Quebec the way we need to be represented.
Joel, you've had a long, distinguished career. You're very well known from your days at Direct Travel and prior to that, Vision 2000. Now, what are you perceiving as the objective as you now embark on a whole new chapter for yourself?
Well, that's a great question. I think the number one thing I want to bring is help this guy grow this company to the max, right? Rocky, take it to the next level. I think what we accomplished back in my earlier days, as you said, was bringing Vision to a national, really major player in the marketplace, and TTI has such an amazing reputation already, and I think that we can certainly add, hopefully, the Quebec business to his already wonderful business that he has.
You know the market well. You've been there a long time. You understand the playbook. Where are you going to get the agents from?
Oh, we're not really worried about that. You know, if you have a reputation of attracting great talent by treating people really well, showing them a lot of respect, there's a lot of agents out there who may feel that they're not getting that from their existing employer. I've never had a problem with that. We do have had a great reputation, as does TTI already, for employee retention. I think one of the highest in the industry, and I see no issue with that at all. As we grow the business, it's going to be slow and steady. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we're certainly hoping to create a wonderful atmosphere for employees to work in Quebec.
Now, what Joel said, Rocky, you have a strong reputation in Canada. You're very well respected. Your advisors love working within your organization for all kinds of reasons. You know, I think certainly the ethics that you bring forward and the quality. So I'm selling you to the market. How are you going to bring that to the Quebec market?
Well, it's what we call that white glove high touch service, and we know that Quebecois folks really, really value and appreciate that even more than anyone else. Personalized service is important, and it's something that Joel was very successful at doing. It's something that we've been successful at doing throughout Canada, and what we also come to realize is to provide that high level of personalized service, you really have to understand your audience. And it's one thing to say, you know, someone from Ontario servicing someone living in Quebec or living in Alberta or living in British Columbia, but being in the same province, understanding the cultural idiosyncrasies, the mannerisms, the political climate, the business climate, the social climate, it's not only asking the right questions, it's how to ask the right questions to develop that trusted relationship so you can really provide the utmost service to our clients.
Joel, I also was raised in Montreal, as you are, Montréalaise, and I know from my background working in Montreal in the airline industry, the trade is very close-knit. It's a very, very strong community that know each other well, that stick together. How are you going to sort of enter in there and kind of chip it apart a little bit?
Well, the desire is not really to chip it apart. It's really to re-enter a market that I enjoyed being in for so many years. I have so many friends, both competitors and suppliers as well, that I've maintained these relationships. I've only been out of it for 15 months. It hasn't been that long. So hopefully I'll be able to reestablish those relationships. And there's been a tremendous amount of consolidation in the Quebec market. I remember going to industry affairs where there would be 50, 100 agencies represented in the Quebec market. Now you go to these events, there's maybe 10, 12. So it's not really doing any damage. I don't think, if anything, I hopefully will add a little more color back to those events.
Sounds great. Thank you. Rocky, I know you love a challenge, so it's nice to see you take on a new project like this. Keeps you young, right?
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk a little bit more about this and the state of the industry with Rocky, as we often do. So stay tuned and stay with us for the next chapter of this interview. So Rocky, the move into the Quebec market attests to the fact that you see and you have confidence in the retail sector. I mean, I know you've been growing in the rest of Canada, but obviously you're really feeling very bullish because you're taking this step to actually expand. What did the analysis show you when you looked at what the opportunity is?
Well, we all know that Quebec is a very unique and distinguished market. And to be able to service that market as best possible, you need to make sure that you have the people in the province that really understand the nuances of the Quebec mindset.
Yeah.
From a luxury leisure perspective, to a service perspective, to corporate management perspective. Montreal is really becoming at the forefront of AI technology. They've really attracted a lot of IT businesses over the last 15, 20 years. So it's really booming from a business travel perspective.
Okay.
And also it's attracting or developing a lot of wealthy millionaires. There's over 22,000 millionaires just in Montreal alone and growing. This is in correlation to the rest of the world. The rest of the world, the luxury travel is anticipated to double, and I see that same opportunity in the Quebec market.
The consumer mindset in Quebec, do you know where it sits in terms of using an advisor versus booking direct? I don't have a sense of that.
Well, when it comes to unique experiences, luxury experiences, folks that have used the luxury advisor understand the value that we bring. It's not only that we do the research and take care of them, but they know that by booking through us, all the added value and amenities that we can bring to the table, they can't get that by booking direct. So it's just a matter of using or have experienced our services, and the repeat factor is extremely high, and the referral component is very high also.
Now your own. Of course, Quebec is your own, but I mean, in the rest of Canada, as it's called in Quebec, ROC, you've seen some huge growth. I think over the last few years, you talked to me once about 20% growth.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from?
Both sides of our business. We have a corporate business side, which the business traveler is traveling more, so there's organic growth in corporate travel. We've actually had the good fortune of winning new accounts, new business
Nice.
opportunities. And on the luxury leisure side, coming out of COVID, people really value their time and their experiences. And if COVID's taught us anything, things aren't as predictable as we always thought they would be. So, and the stock market is doing great. People's discretionary wealth the correlation is continually going up. The cost of travel is continually going up. Air seats, cruise cabins, luxury hotel space, but they're constantly being filled up, and there's more being built, and more consumer
I
demand.
find that fascinating that it just exponentially keeps expanding, without any end in sight. I mean, how many hotels can we build? Where are people going? And yet, all the advisors I speak to say they're busier than ever.
Exactly.
I'm going to flip the switch for a second.
Sure.
I hear from other advisors that because of the situation that the world is in, which is not pretty, I mean, there's no hiding the fact that things are not pretty in south of us, and that has a ripple effect. And some of the advisors are saying that their clients are telling them they're holding back on traveling, not just to the US, which of course we know there's certainly been a pullback there, but it's well documented. But in general, there's a sense of trepidation about leaving home. Do you see that at all manifesting?
It hasn't showed up in our booking numbers, to be quite honest. January, this has been the busiest January we've ever had.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
It is. However, in talking to friends and colleagues, people are really, there's a lot of anxiety
Yeah.
out there. And people, because of this unpredictable environment that we're all in, are not comfortable even leaving the house, let alone getting to go into airports.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's definitely a big move away from going to U.S., even to connect through an American airport.
Yeah.
But there's, all this bad news, all these horrific things that we're seeing in the media, on TV, it does play with our psychology, our
bad
psych
juju.
system. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
It's really unpleasant.
But
it's not affecting your business.
it's not, and our partners, we keep in touch with them.
Yeah.
Their hotel rooms are still chock-a-block. Their luxury cabin suites are still chock-a-block. All these, launches of these private vessels, trains, people are booking. So it is strange to think that with all this uncertainty,
It's like
people
there's
are
two-
still,
still wanting those perks, and maybe because of that, they think I deserve to have this fabulous time away where I'm pampered. It's almost like there's two aspects, like two market, parallel markets that are happening. One where there's a certain sense of pulling back, and another is, go, go, go. Life is short. Let's take advantage.
But here's an interesting statistic. 70% of luxury travel comes from U.S.-based travelers.
Right.
And despite the last couple of years of, all the noise that's been in the marketplace, you would think that Americans would actually hesitate to go abroad. But that hasn't happened. They're still traveling. They're still going to London. They're going to Europe.
A lot of very wealthy Americans.
And those are the ones that are keeping the luxury market buoyant. However, given this iteration of what's going on now, maybe some Americans may not feel comfortable going abroad. I'm actually going to be in New York in a couple.
So more hotel rooms for us.
Well,
right? I mean, that tends to be the way things map out.
Absolutely. The Canadian market is becoming that much more important. It's because we're much more stable.
Yeah.
People like us a lot.
Are the suppliers picking up on that? Are you finding that they're reaching out to you more as a
Absolutely.
result? Yes?
Yes.
That's very interesting, Rocky.
And even folks that would come from Europe or Asia or other parts of the world to do, visits of the travel agency community within North America, they're definitely adding more time in Canada in proportion to what they did in the past.
Right.
So they're realizing that the Canadian market is even more important to them because, again, they're not quite sure how the U.S. market is going to, proceed given this uncertainty that we're all in.
We're small but mighty. On that note, thank you, Rocky. Appreciate the
Nina.
update, and
Always.
Congratulations on this new chapter of
Thank you.
TTI's evolution.
Thank you. And great that we matchy.
Yeah, I know, right? Look at this. We call each other in the morning, figure out what color scheme we're wearing.
Thanks, Lena.
Thanks.